good to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, other Lauren. Hey, everybody. So, as Lauren from Slow Food just mentioned, I am Lauren Smith. I am the cultivator at FarmRaiser. So that means that I'm the person who works directly with organizers, and I'll talk a little bit more about my role throughout the presentation. We are so happy to be working with Slow Food School Gardens to not only help schools raise money for their cause, but also to help communities become more robust in general in their support of schools and healthy food for kids, local farmers and artisans, and just their hyper-local food system. As we talk about FarmRaiser for these next 20 to 25 minutes or so, I think you'll be really excited because we are not only not a fundraising nightmare, but we're something that's really fun, really cool, and actually something that makes a difference on a lot of different levels that you're working on. So you're supporting local farms and artisans, of course, when you do FarmRaiser, but you're also helping to make lasting changes in students' choices and habits and behavior when it comes to food. Before we get going, I just want to emphasize that I am a friendly resource for you, and I'm happy to talk with you at any point throughout the year. My contact info will be at the end of this presentation, and I'm sure that we'll send it out as a follow-up. I know that we have people in a variety of roles and a variety of regions listening in, and so I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone who's interested about us in any context to sort of figure out what the best fit for FarmRaiser is in your work, the best information for you to share about us, the best people for you to connect us with or contact about us, etc. This is just a quick look at our agenda. So we have already done very fast introductions. So next I'll spend a couple minutes answering your first question, which I'm assuming, what is FarmRaiser? And then we will go through just a little bit about how FarmRaiser actually works, and toward the end of the presentation I'll spend some time talking about how FarmRaiser is an effective and meaningful tool to not only fundraise, but again to really affect lasting behavior change in students. And then we will do a quick Q&A session. I will get to that as quickly as I can because with these small groups I know that sometimes conversations are just as great as the presentation, if not better, and so I will make sure to carve out some time for questions, and then we will wrap things up and I'll have a wonderful evening. So there are really three different ways to explain what a FarmRaiser is, and this is the first one. We are an online platform that connects local farmers and artisans in regions across the country with schools and organizations who need to fundraise for something, and that might be a trip, it might be school resources, it might obviously be a school garden, a charity that they're affiliated with or support, whatever the cause might be. A school signs up, they work with me to select products that are a good fit for their community, and then once that's done, their market is ready. So at that point, students pre-sell products through our online farmers markets and our mobile app. The sale ends after a couple of weeks, and then farmers deliver to the school, or sometimes a volunteer goes to pick up the products, and then customers receive these beautiful, healthy local products that they have bought to support their favorite kiddos' cause. And then, of course, we send organizations a check for their proceeds, which is everyone's favorite part. Perhaps a more sort of real talk way of explaining FarmRaiser is that we are a way to do product fundraising that doesn't suck. It makes people love you instead of hate you. I'm sure that you're all familiar with, or you maybe even remember selling in your own school fundraisers all the cookie dough and wrapping paper and pizza kits. Just decades of terrible product fundraisers have led us to this situation where people dread fundraising, but they feel like they don't have any options or alternatives other than to sell junk or just harass parents for money all the time, and of course that's where we come in. We were actually founded when our founder's son sold, I want to say like $1,000 worth of candy or something, and after delivering it, he came home and he said, "Dad, it's so weird, we wouldn't eat any of the stuff that I sold." And when Mark, our founder, tried to find a healthy fundraising option, there wasn't one, and thus FarmRaiser was born. I love the quote at the bottom here, not just because it is from a happy parent, which we love, as I'm sure do you, but because I think it does a really good job of showing the investment that kids have in FarmRaisers when they participate in them. They have a connection with what they're selling, where it comes from, and they're proud to deliver it to their customers and eat it themselves because it's healthy and supports their community. Which leads me to the third way and final way to explain FarmRaiser. which is that it's a meaningful way to connect kids to their local food system. You know, most kids that we work with, or that are at schools where we start working, really know very little, if anything at all, about their local food system, and FarmRaiser is a perfect way to introduce it to them. Kids love being involved in the product selection for FarmRaisers because it's usually the first time they've really thought about where their food comes from. So, for instance, they learn why they can't sell local strawberries in December, or why local honey tastes different from honey that you buy in the grocery store, or why locally roasted coffee tastes better than the huge, you know, box of it that you buy at Costco. FarmRaiser gives them that chance to really start understanding how food is grown and made around them, and they respond really well to that. Like the third bullet here mentions, you know, as they start learning more about the products they're selling, they start thinking about their own food choices. So they start realizing that the peaches that they're eating from a can aren't fresh and definitely didn't come from the farm or the orchard down the road. And so their bodies can't absorb as many nutrients from them. So they start to notice things like, you know, how much sugar is in a lot of the food they eat, or how far away from them their food was made. So it's, you know, it's really a way to get them thinking about what they're putting into their bodies and developing those really great habits early on. And then our last point here is a big one, right? There is so much messaging and pressure that surrounds getting kids to eat and a lot of times grow healthy food, like in a school garden or some type of program like that. You know, we are constantly telling kids to eat less candy, eat more veggies, but then when they need to raise money to go to DC or to build a new school garden or improve their computer lab, we send them home with these forms for overpriced cookie dough and candy, and then we shake our heads when they develop type 2 diabetes a few years down the road. That system is obviously broken, and FarmRaiser is a really easy tool to use to start fixing it. One last note about this, you know, obviously there are huge connections here to slow food chapters, and we are really excited about FarmRaiser being a potential tool for those involved in slow food to leverage in order to not only get their communities eating healthy products, but also to promote your own work within your community, to promote your own mission, strengthen any programming or outreach that you may be doing, and just generally let people know you're a resource as they continue to make better choices when it comes to eating local food. We are all about sharing the love at FarmRaiser, and we can't do enough to help local food systems across our country. I will get straight to the point because I know everyone's wondering about this. We'll take just a second to look at the breakdown of FarmRaisers. With every FarmRaiser, you'll keep a minimum of 45% of the sale, and possibly more, since we add a donation option in all of our campaigns to allow folks that are out of town or just don't want to buy a product to still support your FarmRaiser. When someone makes a donation, you are keeping 90% of it, since obviously we don't have to buy a product in that instance. So depending on how many donations you have, it's very possible that you'll end up keeping more than 45% of the sale. Ultimately, though, at least 85% of the sale stays in your local community, supporting your local farms and artisans, and of course your cause. You know, as you can see, FarmRaiser keeps 10% of every sale. That's our platform fee. And then the remaining 3 to 5% covers credit card fees. Those just sort of vary depending on, obviously, how many credit cards are used to make purchases in the sale. In case you are wondering who else is hosting FarmRaisers, I know some people are curious about this. Here's a little bit of info. Basically, anyone connected with the school loves us. So PTAs, band boosters, clubs, classrooms that are raising money for a trip or new resources or a new school garden. We are perfect for athletic teams or clubs, since FarmRaiser is all about eating healthy food. We work with a lot of nonprofits and even for-profit companies as well, if they want an easy way to start or implement a wellness initiative. And finally, we work with a number of national organizations you see here, our BFFs, Slow Food, School Gardens included, to help affiliates and members host FarmRaisers to fund their own initiatives and provide this cool option to members of their organization. This slide gives you an idea of what kind of money you'll bring in from a FarmRaiser. Typically, we know that 25 students will sell about $3,500 in products, and then, of course, you are keeping a minimum of 45% of that. I want to just take a minute here to emphasize the role that organizers play in FarmRaisers. So more than location, income of the community that you're in, whether all the kids have phones or not, if you are an organizer who is committed to getting and keeping kids excited, offering incentives, and they don't have to cost any money, by the way, making sure that kids are selling throughout the FarmRaiser, making sure they know about the products they're selling and are pumped to sell them, then 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a great FarmRaiser. The campaign that you see screenshotted here actually was in very rural Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, very low-income community, and they absolutely crushed their FarmRaiser because all of the organizers kept kids invested in the sale, and everyone was really proud to sell locally grown and made products as a result. Hopefully at this point you are all wondering, when can I start? And on top of that, I want to give you just a better sense of the timeline of FarmRaisers. So here we are. Really, the sooner you sign up, the better, but we can usually get an awesome campaign up and running in about 2 weeks. So we can work with less lead time, but again, as a general rule, the sooner a school can sign up, the better, especially if there's a particular product and especially if there's a particular fresh product that you want to sell. We like to have at least as much lead time as possible. Sales last for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then at the end of the sale, we place the order with the suppliers of your FarmRaiser. So FarmRaiser takes care of all of that. You're not ordering any product. Then about 2 weeks later, you'll have your distribution day, which is where you use the reports and receipts that FarmRaiser provides to send products home with Champs, and then they deliver to their customers. Generally speaking, I tell people to think of their FarmRaiser kind of from the time it starts till when customers have their products as lasting about a month. Having said that, though, dates are flexible, and it's part of my job to work with organizers to figure out dates that will work within their school calendar. So if you have questions, feel free to ask about that. Hopefully you are all ready to get some farm raising in action now. So for anyone you speak with who's a little interested, and that includes yourself, go ahead and get them to register with us and create a campaign. It is free, and there's no commitment required. When you sign up, I'll show you what products are available to sell and where to select and price them so that they're a really good fit for your community. And then the sale starts. So kids sell from our online market and mobile app, and then as we went through earlier, the sale closes, FarmRaiser orders the products, and then the products are delivered to you, or possibly you might have to go pick them up, and then Champs give them to their customers. This is just a quick little breakdown of what the organizer does versus what FarmRaiser does, especially if you are sharing FarmRaiser with someone in your community or with if you're sharing it with another potential organizer. This is useful to show them. So as you see, you're responsible for signing up with us, working with me to select products that are a really good fit for your supporters, communicating all important dates and instructions to your group. That includes keeping them engaged throughout the sale, collecting and reconciling any cash or check payments that come in from our mobile app sales, or if you happen to have a paper form, just taking care of all of those and getting them to us, and then of course being in charge of distribution day to make sure that everyone gets what they ordered. On our side, you know, we offer our cultivators as really just a resource for you to have the best FarmRaiser possible. We find and select great products from your local suppliers. Sometimes that involves working with the organizer to find them, and I'll talk about that in a second. We do all the work around your online market, making sure it looks really beautiful. We hook you up with some marketing materials that you can use to promote your sale. We cover all the logistics and make sure everybody knows kind of who needs to be where and when for delivery of your products, and we again give you all the reports and receipts you need for a really easy distribution day. At this point, I am going to go into very quickly what it looks like to sort of register with us and get things started. So it's super easy. You can just go to Get Involved at the top of our website at farmraiser.com and click Start a Campaign. When you register, you're just going to enter a very simple information form for us. After you are registered, you can go ahead and set up your first FarmRaiser, and using tentative dates for that are fine. But what this is going to do is let me show you products that are available in your hyperlocal food system to sell. The other thing that we ask you to do after you register is that you will get an automatic email from me asking what a good time to call you might be and what a good number for you might be. And so if you could just respond to that, we'll get an initial convo set up and get rolling on your FarmRaiser. So everyone is always the most interested of anything I have to say in our products, and with good reason, because we've got some great products. So we work with fantastic hyperlocal farms and food artisans across the U.S., and more are coming on board and adding new products every day, which is actually something I would love some help with, and I'll talk about in just a minute about ways that I would love to work with slow food chapters for that. Registering with us as an organization and creating a campaign is the best way to see which products are available at that time. I'll typically, as much as we can with the schools that we work with, I try to give the organizer somewhere around 10 to 12 options, and then a standard FarmRaiser will sell between 3 and 5 product options. Those might include some of what we call bundles, which I will actually show you an example of now. This screen just highlights a few special products that I think are worth pointing out. Like we mentioned earlier, we will always put a donation option in your campaign for people who just don't want to buy a product or who might live out of town but still want to support you. Along the same lines, schools can also sell community baskets, so your cause keeps half and FarmRaiser uses the other half to supply fresh local produce to area food banks. And then we have the really cool option that I was talking about earlier, which are bundles. So the bundle that you see to the left here was actually featured in a holiday campaign that we did with an elementary school for their school garden program. As you can see, we put some fancy cheese and locally baked bread and local honey on there. Cool story, that honey was from a beekeeper who actually went to the elementary school at the school who sold his honey. So that was a really neat experience for all of us. We do a ton of holiday and seasonal campaigns, like with the pumpkins that you see here in the fall, and we're setting up a lot of FarmRaisers in the late summer and early fall with a lot of that produce. You are probably all wondering what products are available to sell in your neck of the woods, and since our audience is spread pretty widely across the U.S., I wanted to just take a minute and give you the lowdown on products and how you can help make more available. And more products mean better and faster FarmRaisers for everyone, yourself included. So when you sign up for a FarmRaiser, your product options will come from one of 3 places. They can come from existing supply partners near you. They can come from our national supply partners who have amazing products, by the way, like seeds and grow your own microgreens kits and dark chocolate and all sorts of cool other stuff. Or the third way, and this is what I want to harp on for just a minute, is that they can come from new partners that you help us connect with. So working with Slow Food has expanded our reach significantly in terms of schools that we can help out. I'd love to take advantage of all the new folks we're connecting with in order to bring some new products onto our platform. So if you are at all connected with your local food system, or even just have some farmers or artisans who are friends of yours, please tell them about us. There is a template email linked on this slide, and also feel free to shoot me an email for things like flyers to hand out at the farmers market, or to brainstorm about awesome product potential, or just supplier connections in general. This slide is just a little bit more info on where to look for suppliers and kind of what types of products sell great in FarmRaisers. I'll throw in a quick reminder here that we do not allow the sale of products with any added sugar or preservatives on our platform. So if you have a question about a product, you can always ask me. So for people who are joining us and on your phones, our top selling products include any sort of fresh product, obviously fruits and veggies, plants and herbs, things like that, locally roasted coffee from your favorite local roaster, anything flavorful in a jar or bottle, so things like locally sourced honey, sugar-free jams or jellies, maple syrup, salad dressings, things like that. Any sort of locally made snack item like kale chips or jerky are always great. And then the other thing I mentioned on here, if you have connections with a food hub or co-op, or if the school that you work with has some type of connection like that, feel free to connect us with them. We work with lots of food hubs, lots of co-ops, so we can get some really great products that way as well. All right, so for those of you who don't play Pokemon, I apologize for the joke here. My tagline for this screen was "Gotta catch them all," but instead of catch them all, it's host them all. And if you are playing Pokemon, I hope that you're being successful at it. So these are just some of our most popular FarmRaiser ideas that I thought I'd share quickly. If you're joining us on our phone, they include seed sales, and with seeds, we have fantastic seed partners across the country. We have Baker Creek, Seed Savers, Terraire, High Mowing is a seed company that we have based out of Vermont, which I'm sure our Vermont people have heard of and are familiar with. But in addition to that, some other ideas for FarmRaisers include plant sales, so maybe like a Mother's Day flower sale. Obviously, any sort of holiday sale, so Thanksgiving free-range turkeys, holiday cheese boards, Valentine's Day treats, things like that. Fresh produce sales all throughout the year. You know, obviously, product just depends on what season you're in. A picnic or festival-themed sale of some sort. So we have a lot of schools who align their distribution day with a school picnic or their fall festival, so people can just get their products at something they're coming to anyway. And then a community service sale where the proceeds of your FarmRaiser actually go toward like a charity or a group that you want to contribute to. This is not all of them, of course, but just some good ideas. I want to just quickly go through how champs work in a FarmRaiser. So first, what is a champ? Officially, a champ is someone who registers with our system, uses a secure code to join her school's campaign, and then sells using her custom online farmers market and mobile app. Champs are usually students, but they can also be parents or teachers or staff, really anybody who wants to sell. There are a lot of advantages to having champs register in your FarmRaiser. So it personalizes your fundraiser, and because you have the use of our app, tends to increase the number of people who are exposed to your fundraiser. But having said that, sometimes it is a better or necessary option for champs not to register to sell. So you would just have one market for your organization, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Whether or not champs sell in your FarmRaiser is definitely a decision that can impact your sales. So I just want to go quickly through the differences between what it looks like with sales with champs and sales without champs. So this is a screenshot of what a market looks like when champs are registered. And for people joining us on their phone, you see individual profiles of 3 really cute little kids, each with their name and a link to their direct market. So customers would just click on the kid's profile, and then they would be directly taken to a page that looks like this. And you can see here there is a custom note from the champ that he's added. This campaign actually sold high mowing seeds, a cute little picture there. And so this is where customers are directed. You know, they go straight to his market, they take a look at this really cute picture and read his sweet little message, and then they hopefully buy everything that he is selling. This is just a quick look at our mobile app, which every champ who registers with us has access to. You can even register and join the campaign through the app if you don't want to deal with the computer at all. All you do is open the app, hit the sell button, and show customers what their options are, then check them out when they've made their selections. So the app accepts cash, credit card, and check payments. One really nice thing is that our app sales sync seamlessly with your campaign, and so they're included in your campaign tracker, which tells you how close you are to your goal. And then, of course, they're also reflected in the student sales breakdown and customer receipts that we send for distribution day. So if you don't want to have to deal with customers emailing you saying, oh, I want my money to go toward this kid or this kid, registering champs and having them make sales through FarmRaiser is really the best way to go about it. You'll see down here, I just want to draw your attention to this quote. The app was so helpful because it made everything so easy. You could tell someone about your fundraiser and just take out your phone and sell them something in 2 seconds. This was actually from a high school student who sold about $2,500 worth of products on her own to raise money to go to a big soccer competition last summer. So that was a very cool kiddo for us to work with. So the other option is if you don't want champs. So if for some reason, a school might not want champs to register because students aren't allowed to directly participate in fundraisers. It might be the PTA doing the FarmRaiser and they don't want to register students for some reason. It happens and that's okay. So in this situation, you'll have your link to your campaign just like you normally would. But when customers click on it, they'll go straight into your general campaign market instead of having the option to select a student to buy from. If there are no champs in the sale, that's okay, but the organizer and volunteers have to work extra hard to promote the sale. So one email to your personal contacts list announcing your FarmRaiser the day before it launches is just not going to cut it, right? You need really fantastic, up-to-date email lists for parents and the community, and then you need to remind them constantly via email and social media. FarmRaiser has resources on ways to do this that we share with our organizers, and when organizers are on top of it, these sales can go really well. But if they only send out one email to a few people and then kind of cross their fingers and hope for the best, you can probably imagine what the result of that is. All of our data shows that champs drive up sales. So what I recommend to a lot of groups who don't want students to register is to have teachers and a handful of superstar parents register. Even just a couple of champs can make a big difference. You see here that every FarmRaiser we've ever had that's cleared $10,000 has had champs. So that is something that, that I think really stands out. And another thing I would mention here is for schools who are looking to use FarmRaiser as part of their curriculum as a way to teach kids to advocate for healthy local food, making the condition that they register as champs and really own their participation in the FarmRaiser is something that will help your FarmRaiser impact kids more directly. We hear that from schools all the time. This slide just highlights all the ways that FarmRaiser makes paperless sales possible and the benefits of going paperless, the main one being that organizers finally get a break from the old school paper order forms. So, really for people joining us on the phone, the main takeaway here is our app replaces old school paper order forms. So you can just take out your phone and sell someone something still directly face-to-face, but not having to keep up with an order form. And everything syncs seamlessly, so all of that information is all in our system already. With paperless sales, as a result, you're not waiting on order forms and hoping for the best. You always know how close you are to your goal. And because you're not spending time collecting order forms throughout and at the close of the sale, you can spend more time motivating students and messaging FarmRaiser within your community. Everyone always worries that their community is going to freak out if they don't have paper order forms because that's what people are used to. And so my response to that is, number one, we do have paper forms that are available. If you really feel like you need them or internet access is an issue in your community, obviously we are very sensitive to that and want to make sure that everyone is having access to this. But number two, our data shows that our web market and app result in increased sales. So as long as you're messaging your FarmRaiser consistently and reminding people about it and taking advantage of our app, if you have champs in your FarmRaiser, the absence of paper is probably only going to make your life easier. And if you're concerned about this, this is a conversation that we'll have as you start to plan. Though we don't recommend selling on paper, you can still go old school if you want, or you think that's a better choice for your community. Just a couple of things to keep in mind here. So you download your paper form and flyer directly from your account in our website. You are responsible for all printing, so we don't print out order forms or brochures, anything like that. We are as green of a company as possible, and so unfortunately we are just not able to provide that. The organizer is responsible for entering all paper orders into our web system before the close of sale. Most organizers just enter them as kids bring back order forms, or you can do it all at once, your choice. Obviously, the organizer is responsible for collecting and reconciling all cash and checks collected throughout the sale, either from the app or from paper forms. And finally, even if you do use a paper order form, you can still use it in conjunction with our app in general market. So if some kids want to use the app and other kids want to sell on paper, that's totally fine. All right, this is just a quick action shot of one of our distribution days. It's a really cool picture for our phone friends. we just want to cover a few points on distribution days here. They are really easy with FarmRaiser because we give you super easy to read reports of the products that each student should be taking home, along with all customer receipts. Again, we typically recommend that distribution happens about 2 weeks after the end of a sale, although we can be a little flexible with that. We highly encourage parent and particularly student involvement in distribution days. It's a great way to really, close out this piece of the FarmRaiser. We manage all details and logistics as they're related to pickup or delivery of products. So that's not something that you're needing to worry about organizing. You might have to go pick up some coffee, but past that, we handle everything. And yeah, again, we give you very easy to read reports and customer receipts so that putting together orders is nice and easy. It is always awesome to take some pictures at distribution day to share in newsletters or even your local newspaper, maybe some slow food material there, and of course on social media. So we highly recommend taking pictures of all of this beautiful product that your kiddos are putting together and taking to their supporters. And finally, as we wind this down, I know I'm running a little behind, I apologize. I wanted just to quickly revisit why doing a FarmRaiser matters. So, in addition to giving you a cool alternative to fundraisers, we are using our status as a for-profit company to give small farms and artisans a sustainable source of revenue that also helps their community. You can see here that we expect to bring in about $20 million of additional revenue for small farms and businesses across the U.S. These are businesses that need all the support they can get, and FarmRaiser is a fast, easy way to do just that. The cherry on top being that adorable children, or maybe not so adorable if you work at a middle or high school, maybe they're lovable, are the ones helping these small businesses and farms prosper. And just as importantly, we help implement lasting behavior change among young people and their families. So by taking out sugar and processed food from school fundraisers, we are not only sending kids the right message, finally, about making healthy and whenever possible local choices when it comes to food, but we are giving them a way to really advocate for that lifestyle. One of my favorite things about FarmRaiser is that it's something that kids can actually do. It's not just a mantra that they repeat or a special awareness month at school. It is an actionable tool to get kids eating healthier and living better lives. And as we do this over the next 5 years, you can see that that has some pretty serious results, including my favorite statistic about FarmRaiser, which is that over the next 5 years, we will remove the equivalent of about 227 elephants worth of sugar from schools and communities and families. So here, this last slide is just some resources to help you get things moving. We'll send around this PowerPoint, and you're free to take them from here, or you can always shoot me an email at lauren@farmraiser.com. And at this point, again, I apologize for running over a little bit, but if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them.
So people can feel free to type their questions into the chat function, or if you want to ask a question over the phone, you can also unmute yourself since we're a pretty small group here. Thank you so much, Lauren, for a really informative and exciting presentation. I think this is a great fit for a ton of schools.
I try, and Lauren, if anybody types in a question just in the chat box, I actually can't see that because I have my screen on full screen. So if you could just read the question to me, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yes, John, go ahead. We can, I think you can unmute yourself. Yep. Oh, John, we can hear a little bit of static, but you can go ahead and ask your question. John, if you're having tech difficulties, you can also type it and I can read it to Lauren because right now we can just hear static. Okay, so John's question is, what is in it for the farmer?
Oh, that's a great question. A ton of stuff is in it for the farmer. So number one, we are an additional stream of revenue for them. Suppliers do not donate their products to us. We work with them to hit a great price point that us to apply a markup to their product when we place them in FarmRaisers. So usually we're working with somewhere around the farmer or artisan's wholesale rate for their product, and then we apply a markup to it when we add it to the FarmRaiser, which is what gets the school a fantastic margin. Again, minimum of 45%. In addition to that, we are an easy way for farmers and artisans to help out community organizations and schools right where they live. We are a fantastic way to promote their brand to people. So our system makes it impossible for anyone to buy a product in a FarmRaiser without seeing where it's from first and reading a little bit of information about that business. So we're a great way for FarmRaiser suppliers to actually attract more customers and new customers who might not have seen or tried their product before. And then finally, the other way that we work with suppliers is that we share customer information. Only for customers who bought their products, and FarmRaisers, of course, and only customers, never kids. But we will connect them with the customers who bought their products in a FarmRaiser, and then they can contact those customers about any sort of news that they have for their business, and then their newsletter, send them a coupon for their first visit to the farmers market stand, things like that. So there are actually a number of really awesome things about working with FarmRaiser from the supplier side. Our supply partners love us.
Okay, great. Andy has a question. How quickly do the school and farmer get paid their share of the fundraiser?
Our typical timeline is that we will put your closeout letter together, which is exactly what you're thinking it is, just a breakdown of your sale and kind of where money went and the amount of proceeds that you're getting. We typically put that together usually the day after your distribution day, and then we send checks to both the suppliers and to the school. Typically, suppliers invoice us, and we just pay in response to that distribution day. I would say most schools get a check within a week or so of their distribution day, but if you really need the money sooner than that, we can talk about getting it to you, in that period between the end of your sale and your distribution day. We don't do that a lot, but we can do it if we need to. We want to be sensitive to when people need their money.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Do we have any other questions? Maybe some questions from folks who are on the phone and can't type it into the chat function?
Hi, this is Gija, and I had a question. I was wondering if you had any specific tips for those schools that were successful in low-income areas. And that maybe you used paper more, or did it all happen on one day where everyone could come and order all at the same time, or were there any special things for that? Because we have a lot of schools in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the first thing that really helped those low-income schools be successful, and this has been true throughout, even starting with FarmRaiser's genesis. The first FarmRaiser we ever did was in Flint, Michigan, and I can tell you very honestly that our whole team has a strong commitment to making sure that FarmRaiser is very active in low-income communities. We know that access to healthy local food in low-income communities is a problem, and it's one that we work very hard to make sure FarmRaiser is a tool to address. So I would say the first thing that helps in those campaigns, just like with any other campaign, is having a really awesome organizer who is willing to work with me to select a market that is going to appeal to customers in that market and is also priced correctly. Obviously, we want a variety of products just to make sure that we are able to offer products at a variety of price points. The second factor, past sort of working closely with the right organizer and getting a really good market set up, the second factor is definitely having as many champs register as possible. So instead of it being a FarmRaiser where, the PTA president and the principal and maybe a couple of teachers just sent out the link to their market, they got every kid registered. Every kid was either selling on their phone or on a paper order form for schools where we did paper, and we're really getting out there and telling people about these, these awesome local products that they were selling. And then I would say the third component that particularly I'm thinking of two that we did last year. One was with a school in rural Idaho, and the other one was the school in rural Michigan that I referenced earlier. The other thing that those schools did that I think was really successful, and they both cleared like at least $12,000 or $13,000, was that they associated incentives with their FarmRaiser. And by incentives, I do not mean a pizza party or ice cream party. They did actually a lot of free incentives. So, I think they offered 10 minutes extra recess to the class that sold the most, and the teachers created like a free homework pass to give to students if they sold, if they met their fundraising goal. We had one school who one time the principal shaved his head because the school met their fundraising goal in their FarmRaiser. And so, I think those three components were probably what informed those sales the most. I would also say, though, that working with me to schedule your FarmRaiser at a time when you can promote it at any sort of school event that might be going on, so you might have a festival or a dance or something like that, any sort of big community event that your school could have a table at, like a tablet there, or people on their phones making sales, or somebody with a paper order form. I'm a big fan of, if at all possible, coordinating your FarmRaiser so that it aligns with as many events where a bunch of people are going to be as possible, so that you can promote it to as many people as possible. And this is, we can talk more about this too. We have a lot of success tips that we have just gathered from schools, who have done really well despite some circumstances that might have meant that they didn't do super well. So I am happy to talk with any organizer who's worried about that.
Great. We have a question from Allie. Wondering if you have a really short presentation that Slow Food Denver can send to those schools, and they can then decide if they want to pursue it further, or should we just send them to your website?
Yes, actually, we do, and it's in this PowerPoint. So the slide that's almost at the end, called Resources to Get Moving, we have a PTA presentation on here that is made specifically for this purpose. We are well aware that there are a lot of decision makers in FarmRaiser, so I would definitely say to send any of this information on this slide that you think would be useful to them. And again, we'll get this PowerPoint presentation around to everybody as a follow-up. And the other thing I would say is if you have any specific connections with people in the school system who you think would be interested in this, you are always free to connect me with them. I'm happy to talk with them over email or on the phone. We create sample campaigns a lot of times for schools who are interested in this, but need to share it with people. So I would say this, the slide in the PowerPoint toward the end that lists our resources is a great place to get started, along with my email address. And I'm happy to give people any more information that they think they might need.
And I think that also answers John's question about having a promo available that can be shown to schools when the pitch is made. I know you guys have a nice short video, which I think might be the #1 link on that slide.
That's exactly right. So it's the video is the #1 link on our resources to get things moving. John, I totally agree with you. Our video is the perfect thing to share with folks, just kind of right off the bat. FarmRaiser is very new and it's very different, and so sometimes people just need to sort of see what it looks like in order to get excited about it. Our video is a wonderful resource, as is our presentation. If you need something to hand out, our one-pager is a really good sort of shareable material. And then we have a couple of other things in here that I would recommend sharing with people as well. We also have a lot of material for organizers once they come on board that we'll share with them about organizing their sale and promoting it, and really just sort of tips to be as successful as possible.
And then Andy had another question. Is there any benefit to a slow food chapter if they help set up new fundraisers?
Talk with us about that. If you are, if you're working with a slow food chapter or are leading a slow food chapter and you think that there is some really great potential in your community for that, shoot me an email and let me know, and we'll set up a call. It just sort of varies, and it's hard for me to to answer that question right now. But that's certainly something that we can discuss.
Okay, great, thanks. Were there any other questions, or shall we wrap up? Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lauren, for leading us through this great presentation.
Lauren?
And oh, yep.
Oh, I was just saying thank you.
Yeah, so great. Thanks, everyone, for taking time out of your evening, and we will make sure you're set up with Lauren's contact information and have a copy of this PowerPoint, and hopefully we can all get going on this.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody. Look forward to following up with folks. Thanks so much for your time this evening. Hope you have a great night.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.